Welcome to Kóryos, Youth and Life Purpose, a podcast for young people searching for meaning, connection and a deeper understanding of life. I'm Nilo, and together we'll explore Indo-European spirituality and personal growth. In a world where many feel lost, this podcast is a place to rediscover purpose and a natural lifestyle. Whether you're just beginning your journey or looking to deepen your practice, Kóryos is here to guide and inspire. Let's walk this path together. So many young people today lack meaning in life. It is sad to see that nihilism is trending among the younger generation. Well, nihilism is trending in society as a whole, and there are not a lot of options out there, or is there? My name is Nilo and I'm 17 years old. The traditions of my ancestors have been with me throughout my whole life. But about 2 to 3 years ago, I started practicing our traditions more seriously, which led me to join the wonderful community of Hamminga Foundation. The Kóryos podcast is a way for me to reach the younger audience who are interested in deepening their native spirituality and find more substance in life. I know there are a lot of my peers who are interested in their native beliefs, but there's also a fair share of those who perhaps feel a bit lost or need more guidance in life, and I hope to reach both of those groups with this podcast. Since this is an introduction episode, I thought I'd keep the topic a bit more simple and down to earth. Discussing mythology, myths and interpretations is of course very interesting and something I spend the most of my time with, but sometimes it is important to also focus on the simpler things that matter just as much. I also want to point out that I don't like using the term paganism, since it is something that has been used throughout history to downgrade people following their native traditions and beliefs. But since the term has become so popular nowadays, I'll use the term paganism for the sake of simplicity. So then, what does it really mean to be a pagan and follow your native traditions? And what might this look like in your everyday life? To use myself as an example, I usually start my day with a short prayer. This is something I sometimes neglect and need to get a lot better at, but starting the day with a prayer is a great way to welcome the day and start it off on a positive note. It can be very simple, but still very impactful. I start by purifying myself with water, then I express my gratitude for the day ahead, usually by pouring a libation to Sunna, the sun goddess. And I like to do this in the evening as well, just before bedtime. I like to say a prayer to give thanks for the day that has passed and everything that I have been given that day. Having these 2 praying sessions each day is a very good way for me to establish a daily relationship with the divine, which helps with living a more fulfilling and purposeful life. It also helps me to get a moment for myself and my own thoughts. In today's fast and hectic society, it can feel like your thoughts are put in your mind by others, so having 2 praying sessions like this every day is very good for reflection and meditation. And I understand that if you are coming from an atheistic or secular background, it might feel a bit weird praying or pouring libations in the start, but I can promise you that this is something that will feel more and more natural as you continue doing it. Having a purpose in life is most likely the most important thing you as a person need. If a purpose doesn't exist, most people will find their purpose and meaning in money, a career, clothes, clout on social media, etc. And don't get me wrong here, earning money and securing a career can be great things, since material wealth is something that can be used for good deeds, but it is also common for people to get lost in the chase for material things. A relationship with the divine, however, and the ancestors is something that constantly makes you remember what is truly important in life. For me, what is important in life is life itself. If you, for example, look at a flower, it begins as a small seed and it continues to grow into a beautiful flower, showing off its colors and features. The purpose of this flower is to grow into its best form, and I think the same goes for us humans. If you have a talent or a big passion for something in life, then focus on that and become the best at that. I think constantly growing as a person is what is most important in life, and with this comes celebrating our traditions, creating a family, honoring the gods and ancestors, etc. And of course, creating the best possible future for the generations to come after us. I quote, "A society grows great when old men plant trees whose shade they know they shall never sit in." I want young people who are listening to this to know what Indo-European paganism really is about. I remember that when I first started researching how to be a practicing pagan, I got very overwhelmed by how much information there was online. I didn't really know where to start and where to begin. But once I realized that I had sort of been a pagan all of my life, everything felt a lot simpler. For me, Indo-European paganism is about living life to its fullest. And I know that this might sound a bit cliché, but hear me out. Prayers, offerings, ritual, libations, etc. of course play a huge role in Indo-European paganism and its daily life, but it is important to remember that this is not everything. For me, paganism is about living a noble life and living it according to the teachings of my ancestors. Actions matter more than thoughts. It is about how you treat yourself and how you treat others. Like I mentioned a bit earlier, a very important part of Indo-European paganism is the natural impulse to strive for improvement in yourself as a person. As a young person today, there are so many different voices and opinions of how we should live life and what road we as young people should take in life. And since I got introduced to Indo-European paganism, I realized that the most natural way for me is to follow my own calling in life. Meditating and reflecting every once in a while is a great tool for us young people to use to sort out the messiness of life in modern society and find what we think is truly important in life. I quote, "Our tradition is not about the worship of ashes, it's about the preservation of fire. Think of paganism as a torch that your ancestors have passed on to you so that you can keep it burning and hopefully pass it on to the coming generations. This torch represents our ancient relationship with the divine and the teachings and traditions that have existed within a people for thousands of years. This torch is what makes a people connected to the divine, nature, and the people who came before them. What we see now in today's society is this torch slowly starting to fade out, or at least less people make it their interest to keep this torch burning. Without this torch as guidance, how will the coming generations see and be guided in the vastness of darkness that is today's society? Cities are growing, and the digital world is an integral part of our daily lives as modern humans. This isn't necessarily something inherently bad. Groundbreaking innovations like this has happened all throughout history, but this is where it is important to stay connected to the divine. Living in a big city and spending most of our days digitally with work or school, it is very easy to lose that connection to what is truly important in life. In order to not get lost and confused about what is important in life, having a strong relation to the gods and ancestors is very important. This is especially important for my peers who belong to the younger generations. We don't really know anything outside of the modern life that we were born into. And I don't find it surprising that many young people today feel a bit lost in life. Before I end this episode, I want you to know that you're not an isolated individual living this life. You are connected to the people who came before you. Their struggles and sacrifices have resulted in your life. Realizing this makes it easier to understand Indo-European paganism and the connection not only to the gods but also your ancestors. I also want you to know that you are not alone in wanting more substance in life. Pagans can be found all across the world, and more people are starting to practice their native beliefs. I hope this introduction episode was useful and insightful. In future episodes, I will deal with deep dives in various situations in life and explore them from an Indo-European pagan perspective. So stay tuned and thank you for listening.